Apple has bowed to Kremlin pressure to remove leading VPNs from the Russian App Store. So essentially, Russia put pressure on Apple to remove certain VPN providers, including Proton, Redshield, Nord, and Le VPN. Now they are removed from the App Store. So users in Russia who already have those VPNs can still use them, but they will no longer be able to update them. And people who don't have these VPNs yet can no longer install them. This is a pretty concerning issue. I mean, we've already seen other places try to do stuff like this, and pretty much anyone wanting to access blocked sites from Russia is forced to use a VPN. And so without as many VPNs available on iOS, this now makes it that much harder to be able to access blocked websites in Russia. The really concerning thing here for me, and this is actually something that I believe is being used as an argument around the world right now as for why Apple needs to open up away from the App Store, is when you only have a single way to install apps on your iPhone that is controlled by a centralized company, and there's no other way to install apps. It makes it very easy for governments to do this kind of stuff. And so this is why we're seeing a lot of pushes for third-party app stores, as well as having things like web apps. I know web apps are kind of a bad example in the context of a VPN, because a VPN needs some kind of integration with the operating system. But we really need third-party app stores to prevent this kind of situation. I think everybody can kind of get behind that. When you restrict things to just a single app store, it makes it way too easy for governments to control what happens on people's devices. So it's really concerning. I think it speaks more to Apple's mistake in not opening things up to people sooner. And now we're seeing the repercussions of that. So I really blame Apple for the situation they've created here. It's not good. I really want to harp on that because I see people saying they shouldn't have complied. But I think that, again, we always come back to this with even companies like Proton. If you're a company and you're doing business in the country, you have to obey those countries' laws. And that's why you have to put in active effort to make sure you can't comply in bad ways with those governments. This is why we see Proton, anytime they're forced to hand anything over, it's something like a recovery email or an IP address. It's never like the contents of their email, because they implement zero-knowledge encryption or end-to-end encryption, depending on the Proton product. And same thing here. If Apple actually thought about this in advance, they wouldn't be in this situation in the first place, because at the end of the day, Apple has to comply with Russia if they want to sell products in Russia. I'm not mad at Apple for complying with this. I'm mad at Apple for not thinking of this exact thing happening 10 years ago.
We actually host an entire podcast every week covering the privacy and security of the world in order to keep you safe. If you like this clip and you want pretty much a whole episode with a ton of stories like this every week, make sure to check out our main channel, Surveillance Report. You just watch something from the Clips channel. You can also stay subscribed there and check that out if you just want short clips every week. But if you want the full episode, check out the main thing on Surveillance Report down below, or visit surveillancereport.tech. See you next time.